Hey, good morning. Welcome to Hobby Evolution episode 685. I had to remember for a second. That means we're 2 weeks away, mid-October. We're going to hit episode 700. Holy cow. I'm a week in to using pumpkin spice creamer for my coffee. I'm not going to say it sucks, but it kind of does. It's not that great. And I understand why there's like this big rage over pumpkin flavoring, kind of. I love pumpkin pie. Pumpkin spice, pumpkin other stuff just doesn't do it for me. I thought maybe I could get into the creamer, but it's creamer. I just need a little something to add a little bit of flavor to my coffee. I can drink it black if there's no creamer in the house, but I prefer to have a little touch of cream in my coffee just to give it a little bit of flavor. I do like coffee flavor, but again, I've got to have a little bit of French vanilla or hazelnut, amaretto, Irish cream, pumpkin spice. I'll suffer through the rest of the bottle. It's October. It's almost October. Can you believe that? It's almost October. Holy crap. It's almost October. Which means the Midwest premiere is coming up the 15th and 16th in Loves Park, Illinois, which is just outside of Rockford, 1 hour west of O'Hare Airport. So fly in. It's 250 tables and it's a 2-day show. It's going to be a good time. We do have a limited amount of tables still available. So reach out. Let's see. We're at midwestpremiere.net. So that just has the details to get us to get into contact and reserve those tables. So again, October 15th and 16th, the Midwest premiere, a 250 table show in Loves Park, Illinois, at the Indoor Sports Center, which is a really cool place. So check that out. That'll be the big October show. Madison Card Show will still. I had a few people ask me. They're like, "Is there still an October Madison show?" Yes, the answer is yes. It's October 22nd, which coincides with UW, University of Wisconsin homecoming, which I think is going to be now, after talking to the hotel staff on Saturday morning, I'm now looking forward to it because that hotel, the Sheraton Hotel on John Nolan Drive, is going to be filled with football fans. And many football fans like football cards and other trading cards and other sports cards. And maybe Pokemon and other stuff. So I'm looking forward to it. We'll may have some never before seen customers walking through the show before the game. It's a 2:30 kickoff at Camp Randall in Madison against Purdue for homecoming. So I'm looking forward to the October show. After all, it's October 22nd, Madison Card Show, Sheraton Hotel, John Nolan Drive. And again, we'll have 125. The tables are available, but they will sell out. We've got Victor in the house. Good morning, Victor. Ed, what's up? Mark, good morning. Terry, Jenny says, interesting ad choice this morning. Herman Miller. I don't know who that is. I don't know what ads play, and they'll play for different people. So that's all based on like your like browsing. What do they call it? Cookies. I think that's how they display the ads. So your ads will be different from Victor's ads and Ed's ads and David's ads and my ads. So I'm not sure. Some of the ads, it's political season, so I get a ton of political ads when I'm watching YouTube videos. Let's see. David, what's up? Paige and Deanie Bean, good morning to you. Jenny says, I don't know who it is either, but I thought it was funny. Took Herman's name and my last name and gave me an ad. That's funny. Fall Creek Collectibles, what is up? Good morning. George, what's happening? So it's Monday morning. George has already had a Monday morning. It's Monday evening for George. So what else is going on? Again, this is you saw the generic thumbnail, which means it's no particular topic Monday. Paige and Deanie Bean. Dean wants to know if you have baseball hats signed. That's a good question, Dean. I don't think so. I'm trying to. I don't think so. I have a couple game used hats, but they're not signed. They're just game used, game worn. But no, I don't think I have any hats signed. I don't have any. I at the Cubs convention in previous years, which it sounds like they're not gonna have Cubs convention again, which really sucks because it's like one of my favorite days of the year, weekends of the year. They sell game use. They have like a Cubs Authentics, which all the money goes to the Cubs charities. And so I love spending money in there because it's like game used stuff. I bought a base, National League Championship Series base, game used base. It's second base because of my guy, Javi Baez. I've bought game used jerseys. I've bought game used balls. I've bought cleats. I've bought what else? Pants. Anything you can think of, they will put it out for sale at the Cubs convention when they had it. But I never bought a game used batting helmet, which I wanted, and I think that would be really cool to have a game used batting helmet signed. So that's one thing it's not really on my like want list. But if one came up at the right price and I had the opportunity to get it signed, might do that. Let's see where we at in the chat. We've got Herman, what's up? Good morning, Hobby World. Zach and Porter are with us. Royals 417. Good morning. Fall Creek says Jenny and he shows in your neck of the woods this coming weekend. Ed says I have YouTube Premium because my wife enjoys watching concerts without ads, so I don't get any either. Very cool. Abraham, what is up? I did not see you Saturday. I did not see Abraham. DR says, good morning. I checked out that storage unit yesterday. I don't think I will end up with it, but I do have an offer submitted for a private collection I viewed on Friday. Fingers crossed. Awesome. That is very cool. I did see you took photos of one. I saw photos on Twitter of it. I don't know if it was the storage unit or the other collection. But I did see photos. And that's one of, just based on it, I have no like background knowledge. Like I have no idea, if that was like a sale or it's an auction or if it's whatever. But those are just based on what I saw. And I think you were able to like dig through. So you have obviously a much better idea of what's in there than somebody seeing the photos online. But those are like, oh man, it's a crapshoot. Like if you only see, sight unseen, it's really difficult to what am I going to pay for something like this? Because speaking of like my latest Goodwill palette, and I mentioned in the first, I just did one video on it, which is all you really need because that was where all the good stuff was. The rest is just basically garbage. There were a few cards here and there, but like nothing great. Nothing really even good, like mostly quarter box stuff. And as I get to the bottom of it, it's like all boxes, and it's like, well, there might be something in here. No, it's like super cherry. It's like I went through it and cherry picked it because there's not even like junk wax, Roger Clemens, Barry Bonds cards in there. It's just commons. Like I'm pulling the Cubs, and that's about it. And I have a pile, and I've probably gone through out of these boxes. Let me give you a little background, and I'm talking about the latest Goodwill palette I bought. There's probably a dozen, and they're basically like coffee boxes, and they're here, perfect. I'll size it up perfectly. The size of maybe a little larger than a medium flat rate box. So probably the size of a large square flat rate box. So now you have an idea of the size. 4,000 cards per box, all commons. And I have a pile, and I've probably gone through, I think there's still 3 left in my car. So I've gone through 8 or 9 of them. And like I have a stack of maybe 200 cards that I'll put in my store for $1.50 shipped. So that's like, it was a dud of a palette, but the WNBA cards will make up for it. I've already made, quite a few sales. there's enough like $1.50 cards that but it's not going to be a very, probably 1.5x net profit. So it's going to be a pretty small profit margin on this latest Goodwill pallet, but I've had pallets where, and I'll be able to bulk. Actually, I take that back. It'll be more than 1.5x because if I bulk it out, hopefully I have somebody on the line for another truckload of commons. If they're still interested, that'll get me pretty close to break even on the pallet itself, and then add the WNBA sales I've already made. There's profit. I still have a ton of those WNBA cards to list, so it'll be 2x after everything's said and done. So I'd like it to be a little bit more, but hey, so yeah, it was as expected, which I said when I did that video. You can go back. I think I recorded that a couple of weeks ago. That this is just going through there's not much here. This is going to be a pretty bad palette in comparison to the other 6 that I've bought. And it might go down as the worst. And it still could go down. It might be depending on what else I find out of the WNBA when I comp stuff, because there's been some surprisingly good like rookie autographs of WNBA players. So there still could be some good stuff in those piles of WNBA cards, and add a little more profit. But as expected, that was all. That was like the best and only good stuff out of the Goodwill palette. Like I said, I still have like 3 boxes to go through, but they're the same. They came from the same place. They're cherry picked and going to be all commons. I'll get the Cubs out, yay, but the rest is going to go in a bulk sale. Let's see where we at. Card Hobbyist, what's up? Good morning. Jenny says we officially are at the time of year Bo's store is going to rev up real quick in actives because we now will not see more than 12 hours of daylight until spring. Jenny is absolutely correct. And did I talk about this the other day about the shorter days? The leaves are turning. I pulled my garden. There's a chill in the air. I might wear hoodies more than just Fridays. Might sneak a hoodie Monday in there from time to time. But there's that fall crisp in the air. I'm drinking pumpkin spice creamer. You'll start seeing apple cider in the stores. Scary movies are going to be on TV. Days are shorter. And usually I hate this time of year. Not because I hate fall, but because I hate winter. And I love summer. I love summer so much, and I hate winter so much that fall is like the precursor to winter. Duh. And so I hate fall because it's guilty by association with winter. Fall means winter's coming. On the other side, I love spring, not because it's still cool, but it's warming up. And that means summer's on the way. So it's all just a mindset. But as Jenny mentioned, we're going to see Bo's store rev up in activity. And yes, we are. So I am looking forward to it because I'll have less distractions and I'll have more time to work. Isn't that like backwards? You shouldn't be looking forward to more work. But I'm looking forward to it. Less weekend getaways to Wrigley Field and all that good stuff. So yes, I am looking forward to it. Although I am making a little fall trip this weekend. Friday, I'll be headed back to my hometown, Anawan, Illinois. Go Braves, but they're the Titans because they co-op in football with what was a rival when I was in school, the Wethersfield Flying Geese. They are now the Anawan Wethersfield Titans. So they play. I don't even know who they play. They play homecoming. Their homecoming is this Friday. So I'm going to go down and watch the parade. So I'll leave mid-morning this Friday. And let's see. I'm going to look to see who. I think they play Knoxville. I think it's Knoxville, which is near Galesburg. Let's look. Conference standings. We're going to talk a little football here. A little high school football in the Class 1A, the smallest of classes in Illinois. So let's look at the standings. Knoxville is in first place. And let me just make sure that's who the opponent is. It is at Anawan High School, Friday night, 7 o'clock. So the Blue Bullets of Knoxville, they are 4-1. But it's like a battle of first place. So there's a 4-way tie in first place. Actually, no. Conference standings. Knoxville is atop the Lincoln Trail Conference standings. The Knoxville Blue Bullets, they're 4-0 in the conference, 4-1 overall. My alma mater is all alone in second place at 3-0. The Mercer County Golden Eagles are 3-1 in the conference. The Stark County Rebels, they're 2-1, but they're 4-1 overall. So those four teams are all 4-1 overall. The Rova, and I don't know what they've co-opted several times in the last decade. Looks like they are the Rova Williamsfield Cougars. They are Rova Williamsfield 2-1 in the conference, and then you've got the Princeville Princes, the Abingdon Avon Tornadoes, which I thought they were better. They're 0-4, and the United Red Storm. So let's see. So Anawan versus Knoxville. I'm going to Wikipedia, give you a little information on Knoxville, Illinois. See, this is how you know that I have no topics to talk about. We're looking up Wikipedia. Crap. I hope that guy that listens to John's channel isn't listening to my channel, because I'm going to read Wikipedia here. Hopefully I'm not frozen, because I'm not. Okay, there we go. Knoxville, Illinois, not to be confused with Rocky Top, Tennessee. Knoxville is in, surprise, Knox County. It's right outside of Galesburg, Illinois. Let's see. Let's look up the famous people. We don't care about anything else. Famous people, notable people. Let's see. Nobody's going to know him. Nobody's going to know them. Hey, Knoxville is home of Justin Hartley. He's an actor known for his roles on This Is Us, Smallville, and Passions. Actually, a friend that I went to high school with, her husband and Justin Hartley were best friends in college. And so I see pictures of them every once in a while. So Justin Hartley is from Knoxville, Illinois. Let's see. That's about it. We've got probably the most, Justin Hartley's probably the most famous, but everybody's going to know Charles Walgreen. He's the founder of Walgreens, and he's from Knoxville, Illinois. That's pretty cool. I would Wikipedia famous people in Anawan, Illinois, but nobody famous is from Anawan. So, at one time we had, which ironically, her sister was a friend of mine. I can't remember her name. She has she's has 2 million Instagram followers. She's a makeup. She did a collab with Kim Kardashian. She has her own makeup line. I don't watch that kind of content, but she was just like a kid. Her older sister and I were friends. They moved. I think her sister was a year younger than me. So I think my sophomore year, her junior year, or my sophomore year, her freshman year, and her little sister, damn it, what's her name? Anyway, she was like a kid. She was 8 when they moved away. So I don't really know her outside of when we were at the house. She's out playing with Barbies or whatever. So there's a little knowledge on Anawan and Knoxville. That's where I'll be Friday night under the Friday night lights. It's been 20 years since I've been back home for a football game, so I'm looking forward to that. So I won't have a show, Hobby Evolution show on Saturday morning, but I will Friday morning. So I'll leave after the show on Friday, no show on Saturday, and then we'll have a homecoming recap on Sunday morning. Maybe I'll stop at some Walmarts on the way. I did consider stopping in Freeport at Jennings Card Shop on the way down to Anawan on Friday. What happens when I do that is I run late because I just bury myself in cards and look at cards, and then all of a sudden I look at my phone. Oh, crap, I've been here 3 hours. I'm already an hour late. I've got to go. Let's see. John says my ads were for catheters. Jenny says, I think the Bloomington, Minnesota show is Saturday, October 1st. That's this coming Saturday. I don't attend that one because it's a long drive. Otherwise, no shows near Jenny until October 15th. Zach and Porter says, my ads have been political every morning. Same here. Every time I watch a video with the ads, it's political. I get it's fair and balanced. It's both sides of the aisle. I get both sides of the aisle. I get Ron Johnson and Mandela Barnes. Let's see. Herman says, back to work today after a week off. Ugh. Oh man, that does suck. Let's see. Today's like not even a Monday for me because yesterday that all I did was ship and then clean. And then I did some listing also. I did a lot of shipping and I did some listing. Didn't do a lot of listing. I listed I had a Pat McAfee card that I found. That was I just received an offer this morning for $15. $15 for Pat McAfee. I love it. I love it. A punter or a kicker, whatever he was. I know it's because of the podcast and the WWE stuff, but it's still fun, and I'll enjoy that $15. So I listed that. I listed some Bowman U. I started watching Dahmer last night. I watched, and I'll get into some football talk, but I watched the second half of the Bears game, and then I watched like the first half, first three quarters, actually most of the Packers game. It was just I was more in shipping mode earlier in the day. So I watched like almost 2 full games. And by Sunday night, it's like, okay, I'm footballed out. I don't even know who played last night. So I turned on. My wife was working on some real estate deals, so she was on the phone upstairs, and I'm like, I'm just gonna go downstairs, look something up on Netflix, and the new Dahmer series was on. It's disturbing, as if you know the background of Jeffrey Dahmer, it's good. You know what you're getting into if you turn Dahmer on. It's not gonna be all rainbows and lollipops. It's gonna be pretty disturbing, and it was. I watched, I think, the first 2 episodes, and yeah, it was as disturbing as I expected. It was a change of pace from football. And we watched Friday night. My wife and I watched Meet Cute. So I saw this when my wife was in Chicago, and I'm like, I'm gonna watch this movie, and I'm like, oh wait, my wife will like this movie, so I'll wait. We'll watch it together. It stars Pete Davidson and Kaylee Cuoco, who I love both of them. I think they're great. My wife and I are both big Bang Theory fans. And I like Pete Davidson from SNL. I think he's super funny, super talented. And I'm like, this is going to be a great movie. And it sucked. It might be, and I'm talking about Meet Cute, and I think it's on Peacock. It might be the worst movie I've ever seen. That bad. And I love Pete Davidson, and I love Kaylee Cuoco, and it was the worst movie, arguably the worst movie I've ever seen. Terrible. It's not funny. It's not even a romantic comedy, which I can handle some rom-coms. As long as they're more on the com side than the rom side. But it was neither. It was neither funny, nor romantic, nor enjoyable. It sucked. Meet Cute, don't watch it. Where are we at? George says, I'm all up on that YouTube Premium and have been for years, so I get no ads. Let's see. Terry says, I found an 85-star Jordan rookie in my Goodwill pallet this weekend. No way. That is so freaking awesome. That's got to surpass a Mike Trout rookie. Bad condition, though, will probably grade a 1 or 2. That's definitely something you send in. PSA now. Are they doing that one? I don't know the background or the update on what PSA is actually grading, if they're grading all cards from that set or only one card from that set. But that's an amazing find. Terry with the Jordan Star rookie in a Goodwill pallet. Trump card, Terry. Reppin' Rajon Rondo, what is up? Good morning to you. Let's see. John says, light, dark, couch people don't care what's going on outside. That is true. It just means more couch time. John says, always giggle at Northies complaining and surprised at winter weather. It is. And it is the first snowfall. We're going to be staring out the window like we've never seen snow before. And I live in Wisconsin. But it happens every single year, every November, that first snowfall. Honey, look, it's snowing. It's like, no shit, it's Wisconsin. It's like when people take photos of the temperature or the gas pump. Come on. Oh my God, I can't believe I spent this much in gas. Well, no shit. Guess what? Everybody else is too. It's 100 degrees. Look at my car thermometer. We all know. We all have the weather app on our iPhones. Zach and Porter says, fall is YouTube ad for your winter video, unless you're a high roller scratcher like George and Premium. Ed says, fall in New England is the best season. Yes, and people can say that in Wisconsin. People love coming up, especially northern Wisconsin, in the fall. Door County, like it's popular. Like this time of year, because here in Wisconsin, actually some of our leaves, I noticed on the dog walk yesterday, there were some leaves already turning. I know my wife pointed out we have some leaves turning in our, I don't know if it was the tree line or if it was our tree in the backyard, but we have some color being added to the leaves. John says, fall equals goat. I guess corn changing colors isn't as beautiful as the leaves on the trees. We have to go a little further north to see the pretty leaves. Yeah, and the corn that's like if the tractors haven't got out into the fields to harvest or whatever they do in October. Is it harvest in October or September? Yeah, the corn turns, I don't even know what color it is. It's the color of death. And it's not black. It's like worse than black. Like if black is the color of death, the color of corn in October is even worse. Paige and DD Bean says, use your commentator voice. Don't read from Wikipedia. Zach says fall is the best season. John says, Rova Cougars. I'd like to see those PTA meetings. So John, and John makes what typed out. There's a little background to how John typed out Rova. So John, you actually nailed the original Rova spelling. It used to be R-O-V-A. And Rova is actually not, here's a little more small town history from Illinois. Rova's not the town name. Rova now is 5 town names. 5. R-O-W-V-A. But Watauga originally was not part of Rova. So originally, Rova High School was, how John spelled it, R-O-V-A. Rio, which is spelled like Rio, but in Illinois, everything is pronounced differently from how we know it worldwide. So it's Rio, spelled like Rio. R is Oneida, that's where the high school is located, Oneida. And then now W is Watauga, which is right next to Galesburg. So back when it was ROVA, Watauga went to Galesburg High School. And then they like emancipated or whatever they did, and they became part of Rova. And it worked out. It's like, hey, we can add the W and it still spells out Rova. And then the V is for Victoria and the A is for Altona. So there you go. History on Rova, the Rova Cougars. Rova itself, the high school Rova, is the Tigers, the Rova Tigers. They are the Cougars in football because they co-op with neighboring school Williamsfield, which I believe, here's some more trivia on small schools in Illinois. I believe Williamsfield High School is the smallest public high school in Illinois. I think. There may be some smaller ones. I think there's definitely smaller private high schools, but I think from a public high school standpoint, Williamsfield is the smallest. Let's look it up. Why not? This is a non-topic Monday, so let's look up the school directory. Williamsfield, they are the Bullets, the Williamsfield Bullets. Williamsfield, Illinois, small town. It's actually about the same size as my hometown. Oh, it's a little smaller, 650. They're the Bombers, the Williamsfield. That's right, because they call them, so they're Williamsfield, but they call themselves the Billtown Bombers, which is a cool name. So 650 is the population in Williamsfield. The enrollment, grades 9 through 12, the entire high school enrollment of Williamsfield High School, 79. 79 is the high school enrollment at Williamsfield. They've got a super cool gym. Super cool gym. I'll try to dig out a picture. I'm sure I have one somewhere. It's a really cool gym, especially for a small school like that. John says, why do not a remote from the old house on Saturday or from inside your dad's truck? Why not? Oh, why not do a remote from the old house on Saturday or from inside your dad's truck? I could do that. Because I can go live on YouTube. We'll see how hungover I am Saturday morning. Paige and Deanie Bean says Bronson Pinchot, aka Balky Bartakamoose, lives up 20 minutes from us. He's remodeling an entire town. Interesting. Is that for like a TV show or just Balky being Balky? John says EAGLES. Terry binged Dahmer this weekend while sorting. Jenny says the new season of The Simpsons started last night. I assume Porter might have tuned into that. I actually had that on. I wasn't watching, but I had the football game on before it started, and I just happened to look out, and it's like, oh, The Simpsons are on. I still watch, like, when reruns come on of The Simpsons, I'll tune in, but I don't really watch the new stuff. Max says it's an awesome show. I don't know if you're talking about Dahmer or The Simpsons. George says, I sold a card a few days ago on ComC that I didn't even know I had sold. Was a nice $30. Those are the best. I love it when I sell something out of eBay and it's like, oh, I forgot I had that card. I think it was like the Dwayne Wade Marquette basketball card that sold for $75. And that was like a garbage bag out of a garbage bag. And it sold for $75. It's like, oh, I forgot I had this in. Speaking of eBay, last week I was like raving about how well eBay sales had started in the month of September. So the first week of September, or the first 2 weeks of September, came in like a lamb, nice and perfect. And the last week has been like a lion, very bad. So I've been below. So I have like a benchmark. I won't say what my benchmark is, but I have a benchmark to reach. And the first like 14 days of September, I had reached my benchmark like 12 out of 14 days. I've been below that benchmark 1, 2, 3, 3 out of 4, 4 out of 5, 5 out of 6, 6 out of 7. 6 out of 7 days I have fallen below what I'd like to be. And actually, what did I say? 6 out of 7? And it's actually 7 out of 8. 7 out of 8. Or wait, no, 7 out of 9. So yeah, the last week to 10 days has been pretty brutal with eBay sales. And some of those days, not like, I wouldn't say brutal. Like yesterday was okay. Like I can handle it as long as like today, goes above and beyond. But yesterday was probably, what's the math on that? Yesterday was 90% of where I want to be. But Saturday was, what's the math on that? 70% of where I need to be. And Friday was 67% of where I need to be, where I want to be. So not need to be, but want to be. So yeah, eBay's been down. And I've heard that from a lot of people, that eBay's been down, especially the last couple weeks for them. So maybe people just aren't, it could be that it's just September. People just don't want to buy cards. I think, and I mentioned this yesterday, I think there's a little bit of card show fatigue. There's card shows every weekend, everywhere. And I think we're going to see kind of a pivot back to what we saw 2 years ago during the pandemic, where people just aren't going to be buying at card shows as much. And I think we're going to go back to, a little higher. I think there's going to be a balance. It's not going to be like it was, especially with the tax reporting. I know sellers want to do more off the eBay stuff, cash sales at card shows. But I think from a buying standpoint, buyers are going to want to stay at home a little bit more and not go to a card show every single weekend. So I think we'll see a little bit of a kind of a retraction of the big card show activities. That's just kind of that sucks for me as a show promoter. But sometimes you have to be real and expect some of these things. So that's kind of what I'm expecting to see over the next several months. Especially winter. I think it's not only card show fatigue, but here in the upper Midwest, people aren't going to want to go out if it's cold. Like, I can just go on eBay and find it. So I think that's a driving point as well. Card show fatigue, along with it's freaking cold, I don't want to go outside. Those two in collaboration will lead to, I think, higher online sales and maybe lower card show sales. Let's see. Herman says, we just finished watching A Piece of Her. Now my wife wants to watch Dahmer. I will say, we all know it's disturbing. If you know the story, it's disturbing. But it's well done. Like, it's well done. And it's not because what he did is like unimaginable. And there's like, I can't do gore. Like, I love horror movies. I'm going to try to enunciate. That's the word I was thinking of. Enunciate. I will need to enunciate the following. I really love horror movies. Horror. But I don't like the gore. Like Saw, not for me. I don't do blood. Like, I don't even like what my wife loves watching those weird ass, like The Longest Toenail shows and Dr. Pimple. Like, what the F? Disgust, pimple popping. Like, oh. I can't do that stuff. But I love horror movies. And she hates horror movies. She loves watching pimples being popped and people with like nasty ass toenail fungus. But she doesn't like watching like a thriller. But she loves watching Criminal Minds. Hopefully my wife's not watching. We've had these conversations. I'm like, you love Criminal Minds. And I'm like, why don't you like watching horror movies? And she's like, because it can really happen. And I'm like, so can Criminal Minds. Like, it's what was Law and Order ripped from the headlines. Like, a lot of Criminal Minds, like that's really happened. But I don't like the blood and gore of horror movies. And back to Dahmer, they did a really good job of like not being explicit with what happened. Because it was well done. You could, like, a filmmaker could have gone like and made it like X-rated, nasty, gory, all that stuff. But so far, at least 2 episodes in, I haven't seen like terrible, terrible stuff. Well, I've seen terrible stuff, but it's not like the gore fest that it could have been. So it is well done. Let's see. John says Andrew wins the celebrity game. Let's see. Zach says to Jenny, no, he did not. Porter did not watch The Simpsons. I mentioned it, but he has watched a few of the original. Hard to pry him away from football if that is on. Herman says, watch a good movie Friday night on Netflix called Saved by Ruby. I have not seen. Is that Saved by Ruby? Is that I'm just gonna assume, is that about Jack Ruby, JFK assassin, or Lee Harvey Oswald's assassination? I have not heard of that. Mark is with us. What's up, Mark? I grew up in Jersey during the heyday of Dahmer. He was in the news every day. The Jets returned to being the Jets. Let's see. Jenny says, oh, you love Big Bang Theory? Well, then I can tell you I'm Sheldon because you'll know exactly how he is. That's funny. Max says, is it Meet the Parents bad? Oh, I love Meet the Parents. I love Meet the Parents. So I can't answer that because I love Meet the Parents. Cooter says, Mrs. Cooter and I just started watching The Crown. I wonder how it ends. Ugh. I can't watch. I have like this. I can't watch British television. Sorry, John Evans. Sorry, John. I cannot watch British television, like British or shows about British. And I'm like my ancestry is like mostly from England, England and Scotland. I know are England and Scotland. They're both part of Great Britain, right? I should know this. I'm pretty good with geography. But The Crown is something that I when Jeopardy clues come on about like the royal, like the royal families dating back, like which queen did this, and it's like I don't know, Queen Anne, Queen Elizabeth, like that's the only ones I know. King Henry, I don't know. I don't know, like that and the monarchy and the Bible. Those are like two categories that it's like, nope, I'm out. Count me out. Terry, I sent the Jordan to SGC this morning talking about the Star Jordan. Very cool. I didn't realize they graded the Star Jordan. Jenny says, well, I did call a Jordan rookie being pulled in a Goodwill pallet, but I called it for Bo. That's awesome. To Terry. Zach and Porter, I watched Paul Blart twice this weekend. Porter got to pick Friday night movie. It was a rentable, and since Saturday night was a wind down day, he put it out again in the background. Let's see. Where we at? Let's see. Bo's gas station photos are of pizza, not the gas prices. That's right. When I'm taking pictures at the gas station, it's pizza, not how much the current price of gas is. Paul Carl, what's up? Good morning to you. John says, I think Bo just did a Seinfeld impression. Let's see. $5 says Bo's mom has better Wi-Fi. She probably does. Collects, buying, moving to Collects. What is up? Jenny says, I skipped the card show Saturday because I have so much to do before winter, and there's so many shows now. It's easier to justify skipping a show as a buyer. Zach and Porter on the other side can't wait to hit up Oak Creek this Saturday. Let's see. Jenny says, but we are going to see a huge uptick in sellers come January, February for great deals for buyers because so many don't realize the tax of $600. Yep. Good morning to Rich, Uncle Rich in the house. Ed says there are 5 or 6 good-sized shows in my area next month. We'll attend 1, maybe 2 tops. Tom, good morning. 47 watching. Yes, we're at 48. Can we get into what's the record? I think the record's like in the mid 50s. I don't think I've hit 60 at one time. Let's see. Cooter says this winter's heating fuel costs are going to hit card budgets. I know. Max says that's my only complaint on the series. Not enough attention to detail, too much attention to theatrics. Let's see. Where are we at? Bo is more hee-haw than Monty Python. This anti-British TV tangent should have Benny Hill music in the background. Card hobbyist. Reminds me of Major League 2 when Lou is in the hospital. The whole royal family monarchy is a joke to me. Mark says, hey, Richie, good thing you didn't go to the East Coast National in sauna. Let's see. Paige and Dee Bean says, Lou, I love this, and I may move to England. It's funny when I'll say, like, when I'm on a rant, I'll say the word S-H-I-T. But just casually, I won't say it. I'll avoid it. And when I read it in the comments, I avoid it. But if I'm on a rant, it just flows out of my mouth. The S-H-I-T word. Jenny says, if we were a royal family, Bo is our... Not at all. Low Roller Scratcher is the annoying... Where is Low Roller Scratcher? Rich says in only 10 likes. We're at 50. The big 5-0. Hit the like button if you haven't already. Oh, we just lost one. If Bo is hee-haw, he can also provide us the hee-haw honeys. So now what? Hey, we're 45 minutes in. It was 4 minutes, and I'm like, what the hell am I going to talk about today? It must have been that riveting Knoxville, Illinois Wikipedia talk that attracted all of the new viewers this morning. Football yesterday, Monday morning quarterback. How about the Bears and the Packers? Both kind of sucked yesterday. The Bears, and I think it was might have been in a Twitter chat I was in, talking about Justin Fields and how he played very poorly. The Bears still won. Holy cow! It's funny. We all know I'm a Bears fan. Most of all of my friends growing up, outside of a few, my friend Brandon's a Lions fan. His dad was a diehard Packers fan. How does that work? And just a sprinkling of like Packers fans and other random fans, but mostly Bears fans where I grew up, and like most of my friends, just living in Illinois most of my life, Bears fans. It's that balance, like now that I'm in Wisconsin and especially doing card shows and like becoming friends with customers and dealers, like now there's like this, it's getting more of a balance between Bears fan friends and Packer fan friends. But what I've noticed more so, and the Packers have been pretty good for a while. The Bears have been pretty bad for a while. And I think it's probably isolated to just a few of my friends on Facebook that are Bears fans. And like yesterday, I'm scrolling through Facebook like during the game, and I think it was 10-7 Bears. And I'm scrolling through Facebook, and somebody goes, "Well, that's the Bears suck. This is a loss already." And I'm like, wait. And I'm like, well, maybe he posted this like an hour ago. Maybe the Texans like ran a kickback for a TD, because I didn't watch the very beginning of the game. Maybe the Texans like scored a touchdown, like I don't know how they scored the first touchdown, but that's like in my mind, I'm like, what happened? Because I'm watching the game like right now. It's 10-7. The Bears are winning. And I looked at and it was like 7 minutes ago when he posted that. And I'm like, what the hell? What the hell? I didn't go back to look to see if there were any because there weren't any comments even at that point. And like I see that, and there's a couple friends that I have that like 2 minutes into the game, if the other team scores first, they're like, oh, same old Bears, they're gonna lose today. It's like, gee, Zooks, give it some time, man. It's a long game. I don't get it. I'm sure every fan base has those like Debbie Downers that if the other team scores first, it's like, oh, we're gonna lose. Same old team. We're gonna lose. Bears suck. Blah blah blah. And then the Packers kind of suck. Like the Packers defense was good. Tom Brady, and I know Tom Brady doesn't have the weapons. And I saw somebody post on Twitter maybe that it had to have been the Twitter and Facebook, and I don't think it was Facebook, but somebody said that they think Tom Brady will retire mid-season. And at first, I'm like, no way that's going to happen. And then like, boom, right away, I'm like, I think that's going to happen. I think based on that person saying it, and after thinking about it, I would not be surprised if Tom Brady retires mid-season. He's got a lot of stuff going on in his personal life. He even didn't he even like admit that his head wasn't in the game like a week ago or whatever. And he let like outside influences mess with his head during the game. And they didn't play well. And it would not surprise me one bit if all of this personal stuff is just getting to him and it's too much and he retires. So, especially if there's many more performances like yesterday, because the Buccaneers, while the Packers played like crap, the Buccaneers played like crap, really crappy. So the Packers won, the Bears won, and both teams did not look very good. But hey, a win's a win for the Bears. A win's a win for the Bears. I'll take it. I'll take every win. Although I don't want them to go. It's like what do they call football purgatory, where you're like 8-8 and you get like the 16th overall pick, and it's like, because you're not good enough for the playoffs, but you're not bad enough for like a really good draft pick, which can be a kill. Not as much in football as it is in, I think basketball is the most important. Like the Chicago Bulls were stuck in purgatory for years where it's like they weren't good enough for the playoffs and they weren't good enough for a lottery pick, and Garpax sucked as running the team. Football, it's still very important, but not as important in basketball to stay out of purgatory. And then baseball's baseball. The baseball draft, it's not even comparable to football and basketball. Where are we at? Jenny says, just upgraded my store to 50K available listings. That is awesome. Time to start chugging along to catch Bo. That's today on my docket. I'm going to ship for about an hour this morning, and then I'm going to go upstairs because I did buy a bulk box of like all rookies, all baseball rookies. So I'm going to try to hit 1,000 listings today. Collects. I don't know if Ted's still in here, but I'm going to be putting the Card Dealer Pro engine to work today. Try to get 1,000 listings added today to my eBay store, which will be baseball rookies. I've been going pretty hard on football lately with listings, so I'm gonna go back to baseball. Last year, I sold a ton of baseball in the off season, so hopefully it's I'm still gonna list and try to be timely with some of my football and basketball listings, but my sales were pretty steady even in the really down months. November, December are just brutal for baseball sales typically, but last year was okay. So I'm not as nervous with my baseball listings based on last year's performance. Mark says, been a Jets fan since the mid-'70s. I watch them now to get a laugh. ATX Treasure Chest, good morning to you. Jenny says, speaking of quarterbacks, yikes on Brett Favre getting in the news. There goes his card values. Yeah, I think Brett Favre's just kind of a shitty human based on what he did there. And it's not like his first foray in just poor decisions. But this is pretty bad. This is pretty bad. So if you're not familiar, Google Brett Favre. Basically, like stole from the poor. He played the opposite of Robin Hood. He stole from the poor to feed the rich, essentially. So yeah, that's just shitty. Tom Brady, you dip, Tom Brady. Why you a dip? Brady marriage already done once it became public. Resentment on both sides present, absolutely, and I think it's just going to get worse. And so it's definitely. I mean, when Tom admitted that it was in his head, it's like John said, it's already done. It's. I think it's just. I think it's going to be when it's affecting his performance, which I think it is. Not a good sign. So I would not be surprised if Tom Brady hangs it up midseason. And who's the Kyle Trask? Kyle Trask. Get those Kyle Trask cards out. Card Hobbyist, I think, is he the backup, Kyle Trask? Card Hobbyist says, I didn't know how the Dolphins won, but they did, so that's awesome. I watched the end of the Bills-Dolphins game, and did you see the reaction from Ken Dorsey, who it's like, oh man, Ken Dorsey. I knew he was in the NFL. I knew he was somewhere. But I remember Ken Dorsey as the Miami Hurricanes quarterback back in the 90s. I think it was the 90s. But he had a fit in the coach's box. The Bills, somehow Josh Allen was able to get a pass off. They got they had the field goal line and they got within like 2 yards of like the longest field goal or whatever. So they were within field goal range to kick a game winner. But they had no timeouts left and they weren't able to get the ball back to the line and spike it before time expired. And then Ken Dorsey had a conniption up in the coach's box, which reminded me, and I tweeted about it, my conniptions when I played Tecmo Super Bowl and I lost. And you throw the controller down, you're 8 years old, and you hate life. Oh, God dang it. So that's what happened. ATX Treasure Chest made it to 36,000 plus listings over the weekend. That is amazing. I'm still hovering at 21,000. I hope to hit 22,000 today. Jenny says, Bo, are you more of a baseball fan than football? Do you think you got into football because it was something in common with your dad? He was a Bears fan. Ooh, that's a really good question. My dad was more of a, growing up as a kid, my dad was more of a football fan than a baseball fan. My dad didn't become a baseball fan until he retired. So we shared that bond like in adulthood. But man, I don't know. And I was a big football fan as a kid. I was a bigger football fan as a kid than I was baseball fan. My dream, like all through grade school, was to be an NFL running back. It sounds funny now. Have you seen me? I think I was 5'7", 130 pounds in high school until I graduated. I think I shot up to 5'10" by my senior year and a whopping 160 pounds. But I was a huge football fan, and I loved. I mean, we played backyard football like every freaking day. In the snow, in the heat of summer, in the snow, like we played backyard football, and it was the tackle version. But why was I I don't know. I mean, I think I'm sure my dad had some influence. My uncles were big football fans. My neighbor was he was a Rams fan. I just think my people around me were just bigger football fans than baseball fans. So I think just by my surroundings, I was more into football. And I didn't really, I loved baseball cards. I think baseball cards I equally collected baseball and football cards when I first, like my first packs that I opened, I remember 1988, and it was football and baseball. Like equally. And I only remember opening a pack of football, 88 Tops, and a pack of baseball, 88 Donruss that year. And then 89, I like opened everything. Because by 89, I had an allowance, so I was able to go up to the IGA and buy packs of cards. And by 1989, I was buying 89 Tops baseball. I remember buying 89 Pro Set football and 89 Tops football. I loved 89 Bowman. Now I hate it. I was buying classic WWF cards, those like blister packs. I was buying Batman cards. I was buying New Kids on the Block. Yes, there I said it. Cards. Yo MTV Raps. I was buying everything. If it had a card, I collected it back in 1989, 1990. And that kind of stayed. Like I didn't solely love baseball until 98, because 94, the strike happened. And then I just like denounced baseball altogether until April of 98. The Cubs are playing well. Kerry Wood on May 6th throws 20 strikeouts. And then by June, you've got the home run race. And now I'm like sucked in, and I've been favorite baseball since 1998. But that's a short answer. Long answer short. Probably just influenced by all of my surroundings collectively. My dad, my other family members, and friends. I think we're all more football fans than baseball fans growing up in 1988, 89, because in Chicago, we were coming off the Super Bowl. And if you're familiar with Bears fans, we're still coming off Super Bowl 20. Almost 40 years later, we still act as Bears fans like it happened last season. Super Bowl 20, the Super Bowl Shuffle, the Chicago Bears, Monsters of the Midway. We still act like it happened last year. So, in 1988, 87, 88, 89, as I'm a kid, starting to get into sports, that was still really fresh on our minds. The Cubs had already, and the Bears were still pretty competitive in the mid to late 80s, where the Cubs pretty much stunk They had 84, which I was too young to remember. I was 2. We had 84, but then we had a disappointing 85, and then 86, 87, 88. It was brutal. And then 89, we finally were on the come up, but the boys of Zimmer. So I think as I was starting to form a love of sports in my early childhood, I think that was an influence also. Just the success that the Bears had. We still had Walter Payton at the end of his career. Coach Ditka was still there. We had Neil Anderson by 88. We didn't have many quarterbacks after McMahon wasn't really he was more flamboyant and exciting and punky. But we had all that. The Fridge, Singletary, Dent, all those guys. So let's see, where are we at in the chat? Let's see. John says draft should be incentivized, reverse on playoff order of finish. I agree. Totally agree with that. That's how our fantasy baseball draft works. And I think it's awesome because it does incentivize you to not suck. So I totally 100% agree with that take. ATX says only pay attention to NFL because of Tom Brady. Once he retires, I will probably quit watching altogether. Cooter says Favre, Yachty, who do you give the last life jacket to? Oh man, Cooter, that's a really tough one. That's a really I can't answer that. Now, Yachty was my least favorite. I don't want to say most. I don't like to use the word hate. Yachty might be a nice guy, but I really highly dislike him. But this Favre stuff is like real life. Like I just don't like Yachty or Molina on the playing field. I don't like his antics, but he hasn't stolen welfare money from poor people in Mississippi. So Brett Favre, you suck. So Brett Favre is the most hated. It's tough, but Brett Favre surpasses like Brett Favre. I respect his football play. Like his D picks and his welfare stealing. Like that's just being a shitty human. Yachty or Molina, I hate his on the field antics and play. I don't respect that. But I haven't heard of stealing welfare money or sending his D picks to women off the field. So Brett Favre sucks. Worse than Yachty. Zach, what's up? Zach Sports Cards and Collectibles. I got an SSP retail case hit Trask. Might want to sell. Get it ready. ATX says, that's because you sell way more than I do. I need to catch that sell rate of yours. My sell rate, where's my sell rate now? It's at like 0.4%. It's right at 0.40%. When do the final Bowman you get ripped? I am down to 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. I'm down to 17 blaster boxes. One of my dealers at the card show, at the Madison Card Show Saturday, he goes, he bought like a couple hobby boxes and his kids were ripping it. And they're like, how can he not rip all those boxes of Bowman U in the background? And I have ripped so many. A hobby case, and I've probably ripped 50 to 60 blasters, and I have 17 left. So I don't know. I don't know. I'll rip, like every once in a while, I'll just pull one down and rip it. Just if my computer's booting up and it's like I don't have any other, like I'm just sitting here, it's like I'll just rip a box. So I probably won't do like just a big rip. I'll probably just continue ripping one at a time here and there. Zach says, I related to the Bills coaches yesterday. That's how I felt in the 90s with the Atlanta Braves lost so many World Series. Card Hobbyist says, I feel baseball is more conducive to that nostalgic feeling than football and basketball. Probably why I'm drawn to baseball cards, although I'm a bigger football fan. That's interesting. Rich says, Bo had the right stuff. Mark says, my entire family are Yankees and Giants fans. I'm the black sheep as a Mets and Jets fan. Dad and my uncles took me to the Yankees and Giants games in the 70s. ATX says, man, I was buying so much Upper Deck and Score football in 89, working at a card shop, spent most of my money there. And that's like, I don't remember opening any 89 score football. And I know I didn't open any 89 Upper Deck because that was $1 a pack. I couldn't afford that. I wanted to buy 2 or 3 packs of Tops as opposed to 1 pack of Upper Deck. And I just don't recall opening score football. And it might have been just because my IGA didn't carry it. I do remember opening Pro Set and Tops. Was Fleer? I don't think football had Fleer in 89. No, Fleer didn't come out for football until 90. Is that correct? Can't remember. But yeah, I did not open the premiums. Card Hobbyist says the Braves did get at least one in the 90s. 95 was enjoyable, he says. Herman says Bo Saved by Ruby is a movie about a shelter dog that was made into a police canine. It's an awesome true story. So it's about on the opposite end of the spectrum is Jack Ruby, who shot and killed Lee Harvey Oswald. Let's see. Jenny says wait till the Vikes win the Super Bowl. The fans will be higher than high off it for 1,000 years. Rich says that's okay. The Jets are still living off 1969, even though Joe Namath is now doing Medicare. I know. Rich, every time I see Joe Namath doing those commercials, it's like, this is going to be like who's Justin Herbert or Joe Burrow, like Joe Burrow. Think of Joe Burrow doing Medicare commercials. It's just, I would say Tom Brady, but Tom Brady's not too far. It's like, that doesn't sound too far off for Tom Brady to do Medicare commercials. He's already like 50. But like, think of Joe Burrow doing Medicare commercials. ATX says 95 was awesome. 96 was the worst ever. The Bills also had many, many years of disappointment following those early 90s Super Bowls. John says Bears fans being martyrs is getting stale. Plenty of other teams with worse recent histories. Let's see. Andrew, what's up? Good morning. Buddy Ryan made that happen. Oh, yeah, definitely. Buddy Ryan orchestrated the Bears Super Bowl in the 1985 season, the 1986 Super Bowl. Abraham heading off to work. Have a great day. You as well. Jenny says, great response on Yachty versus Favre. On field is one thing. Off the field is real life. John says, we knew Favre was a douche with the D picks in Chimura. Yeah, Mark Chimura. There's another guy that sucks. If Bo moved like that 2 weeks ago. Zach and Porter says, I played in the Brett Favre celebrity softball game 2 years in a row when in radio. Brett is a jerk. Deanna is a beautiful woman. You could rip a case during your boot up. I know, right? You're killing me, Zach. Favre was one of my fave players. Jordan was my all-time fave. Andrew says, if you see any Merlin blasters, get them. Is Merlin soccer? I don't think I need to make. I did make a retail trip on Friday, which I talk about. I don't think I talked about that. Maybe I did. But I bought some team bags. I was running low, so I bought these. So they did not have any cards in stock. So grabbed some team bags, and that was all. So speaking of that is all I had for today. Thank you for tuning in. That turned into quite the chat. Appreciate it. Hit the like button if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Welcome. Thank you for joining. Don't forget tonight, 7 p.m. I'm really looking forward to this. Tonight at 7 p.m. Check out Herman's channel, 3B Collection, because he's going to be talking 1972 Topps baseball, and he's going to have some very special guests on tonight's show. I've got to find the tweet. Okay, here we go. Personal Rips and Hobby Chat tonight, 7 p.m. Central. Herman will be on. This is like the who's who of cards. Herman will be joined by Mark Hoyle, Uncle Rich Klein, and John Keating. That 70s Card Show tonight, 7 p.m. Central. This is Can't Miss TV. Can't miss YouTube. Watch it tonight, 7 p.m. Central. This is going to be a good one. 72 Topps Baseball Chat with Herman, John, Mark, and Rich. You know them as 3B Collection, That 70s Card Show, Mark Hoyle, and Saber Geek Rich Klein. So that'll be a good one tonight at 7 p.m. Central. Again, like and subscribe. Thanks for tuning in. Back at it tomorrow morning. I'll see you in the chat room tonight at 7. We'll see you then.